And we're live. Welcome, everyone. This is an AEW Full Gear pay per view review. I am the villain, and I am joined by a special guest, the Maniac Moderator. He was there live himself yesterday. Jeff, how you feeling, brother?
Cero miedo.
So you went to
Gringos
Starcast
con
today.
mucho miedo. SC
So
Boo.
tell us about Starcast. How was your experience getting there, and how was there a long line? Tell us a little bit about Starcast and all the people you met and things like that.
All right, well, I'll tell you about the Starcast story. First of all, I don't know if you and your listeners and viewers know Shaheen Shagan. He's a terrific wrestling artist. He's part of the Wrestling Soup family. He does a podcast called Wrestling Overdose, and he's really into indie wrestling and death matches. So anyway, I think I'm tough and all, so I challenged him to a match. I lost, and the stipulation was I had to be his butler for 30 days. So he said, "Yo, man, I'm going to Starcast, and you're my butler, so you've got to work for free." And I said, "I don't want it." He said, "You lost the match." I said, "You're right." So, so I said, "Is there anything else?" He said, "Yeah, bitch, I'm staying at your place." So, he came in, got room and board, and we got up at 6 in the morning. We get down there. We're told to be there at 7. No signs anywhere. No security anywhere. Stop a couple of cops. They know nothing. Nobody warned them there's going to be 10,000 dorks descending on the city that might need some protection. So anyway, we're not sure we're in the right place at all. They told them to go to Power Plant Live, which is fine, except nobody told them the Power Plant Live is an area. It's like telling you to go to the mall and not telling you what store to go to. So there's probably 20 different bars, restaurants, venues that it could have been in. So finally, we run into another vendor, just wandering on the street. His Uber or Lyft or ride let him off, but at least we know we're in the right place. And then Rob, I think his last name is Feinstein, the guy who used to own Ring of Honor a million years ago.
Yep.
Well, not a million because he's probably in his 40s. He came up with another dude, and so we knew we were in the right place. We confirmed it was Ram's Head. We got in to the open door. Finally, some organizers came. It was a little bit chaotic, but everyone got their tables. Everyone got set up. And they opened the doors around 11, and it was cool. Met everyone, but as far as the wrestlers who were there, everyone. Sammy Guevara, not my style of wrestler, but I got to tell you, he was there first. He stayed for what's got to be 6 hours, smiling, hugged everyone who came into line. He was the hardest working man there that day. He did his job, but I mean, right there also was MJF. We had SCU was there, or SC Boo. Adam Page was there, Britt Baker. They did shifts, so pretty much everyone. Penelope Ford was there, who was a spectacular looking woman. Very short, though. Both librarians were there. I shushed them. They shushed me back. Trying to think, Brandon Cutler. From as far as the old stars that were there the day I was there, the next day Sting and Muda were there. I didn't see them though. You had George South, Bob Starr, Barry Horowitz, Dwayne Gill or Gilberg, as probably most people know him. Taz was doing some of the moderating. It was pretty cool. JR was there for a bunch. Pentagon and Phoenix were there. To my great shame, I had Pentagon right in my sights. He was in my sights. He's looking right at me. He's pointing right at me. That was my chance to go to him. Pentagon, cero miedo. But I had too much miedo, and I couldn't do it. And as he passed me, I turned my head, and he's still looking at me. He goes, and I knew. He knew that I had too much fear. It was embarrassing. I'll never get that moment back again. So, but everyone was there. I mean, Cody was down on the stage with Brandy. Dustin was there. Justin Roberts. They brought the Crockett brothers down at night to break their silence. Don West was selling stuff.
Cool.
Yeah,
I met Don West before at the TNA house show.
Yeah, met Conrad early in the morning. his wife, Flair's daughter, there. Atlas Security was really there. One of them I guess he's really Conrad's bodyguard. So I don't know. I'm sure I'm missing a whole bunch of people, but pretty much the whole roster was there. The the Jurassic Express was on the stage. All three of them. MJF yelled from the balcony to Marco Stunt, "How does it feel to have a micro penis?" And Marco Stunt yelled back, "I don't know. Ask your mom."
Oh, damn.
It's pretty funny. But no, it was cool. B. Priestley was definitely there. Melina was there.
No, I guess, yeah. I remember her. Yep.
A+.
So that's cool that you. Yeah.
That's a big cat.
Yeah, she is. She's probably worth a lot of money, that chick, to go to places like that. I don't
know what she had her status dog with her, or her support animal. I don't know, but it was a little Gucci dog on her lap the entire time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm sure. But no, it was fun. We did some stuff, met some cool people, met a lot of wrestling artists, a lot of wrestling vendors, people in the business, saw some of how things work or don't work. I met the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky Morton actually came over to where we were. He was looking around. He was a total gentleman, introduced himself, shook everyone's hand, but he started the conversation, like he was engaging in conversation. Saw Robert Gibson separately later on. He winked at me, said, "What's up, man?" Actually, Robert Gibson's a taller guy than I thought he was. I mean, he's not huge, but he's probably 6'1". I just always figured they were both sort of shorter. Ricky Morton's not tall, but man, during the show he did that suicide dive. Woo! 63 years old. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, I listened to Tony Khan earlier today on the YouTube where he talked to the reporters for like 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. So that guy's so insightful. He's just down to earth, man, and you don't hear that in any other promotion. I had a chance to meet Dixie Carter twice. I actually still have pictures where I met her when I went to Orlando. And she used to come out right before the pay-per-views and would, wave, come around to the audience and, take pictures with people if they want them. So that was really cool. But Tony Khan seemed like he's really open and just really cool dude. So it was cool hearing him talking about it. It's different to see a pay-per-view on a Saturday. I guess maybe it's smart because of football. They were like, let's do it on a Saturday. So what time did you get to the arena?
Got to the arena probably around 7:30, 7:35. We knew that we would miss part of the pre-show, but as it turns out, we really didn't miss much because I only found out afterwards, frankly, today listening to review podcasts, that the only match was B. Priestley versus Britt Baker, and that was already in progress, but we saw most of it and the end, and certainly saw the part where Kong came out, and though I'm a little bit confused as to why heel Brandy and heel Kong attacked heel Priestley and cut her hair as opposed to Britt Baker's.
I was gonna ask you about that, your opinion, because it was surprising that they only had one match for the pre-show, which was an okay match. They're still building up Brie Priestley. A lot of people are saying she's green and stuff like that, but she seems, she has a good look, she has a good character. She's doing okay in the ring. I think every time she gets a chance, she gets better and better. But I was thinking the same thing you were thinking, and you were live and I wasn't. So I'm gonna tell you that it was cool because they had Taz on commentary for that match. It was Taz and Excalibur. They were the ones doing commentary for the pre-show match. So that was actually pretty cool. But yeah, it confused me seeing Brandy come out with Awesome Khan attacking the heel when they're heels themselves. And Brandy attacked Hayter a couple weeks ago. I think on AEW Dark, and I was like, well, what is she doing? Why are you attacking heels if you're a heel? So, that was kind of, I guess we'll learn maybe this Wednesday on Dynamite what's the story with that.
I mean, the only common thread I can see is that both of those ladies clearly color their hair, and maybe they have something against colored hair, or they're trying to collect it for whatever their voodoo gimmick is. I mean, I'm sure Britt Baker does something to her hair as well. By the way, Britt Baker in person is much better looking than she is on TV, which is kind of weird. It's usually the other way around.
Yep.
Like when I see her on TV, people are like, "Oh, she's so attractive." I'm like, "Nah, she's really not attractive," but in person, she actually really is. Also, Adam Page is better looking in person than he is on TV. It's weird. When I saw him, I'm like, "Wow, he should be a movie star." Then I'm like, "Wait a minute, I see him on TV." I mean, he's better looking in person.
Hmm.
Which is Brandy Rhodes is exactly the same. I mean, Greece
Yeah.
went to war over something like that. I mean, she's down
Oh
on the
yeah.
stage, I'm up on the second floor where the vendors are, and like, her beauty hits you like a wave, like a nuclear force field, like boom, boom, boom. You can just feel it. It's palpable. It's she looks like she's been photoshopped in real life. It's weird.
Oh damn. Yeah, she's a very beautiful
Yeah.
woman. And that's yeah. It seems like her and
That's one
Cody
of
have a
my
great
little nitpicky
relationship.
things with AEW sort of consistently is that I'm not sure who's heel and face. I mean, and as they slowly like Kip Sabian, they clearly made him a heel last night, and I guess
Yep.
Penelope Ford's his manager, so she'll be a heel also. But until that
Yep.
moment, wasn't really sure. And then I don't know. And then I mean, maybe it's like supposed to be more like real life that people are mixed, but it's going to take some getting used to in wrestling for that for me anyway.
Yeah, same here. I was thinking that too, because when I watch the product, I'm like, okay, Cody's a face, okay, Inner Circle's are heels, and I'm like, man, they got so many heels there. Where it's like, where's the balance with the faces? Because when you look at the roster, it's like SCU were heels when they were in ROH, and then when
Mm-hmm.
they got here, they were still doing that, the worst town I've ever been to. But I think
Mm-hmm.
they became faces now, and then you have the Lucha Brothers, which I guess they're heels now, but they're super over. So it's kind of, in Private Party, I'm guessing her faces now because they're over too. So it's always weird because, they don't, I guess maybe in the next couple of weeks, maybe they'll get more promo time because that's one thing a lot of people are saying they're lacking on Dynamite is promos. So maybe we can start figuring out who's a face and who's a heel because right now it's like everybody's over. So it's kind of like, well, except, except one match we'll talk about in a little while. But yeah, let's get to the opening match. It was I know you were there live, so you didn't hear the commentary. Tony Schiavone wasn't able to make it. He had a prior obligation with the Georgia Bulldogs, so they
Yeah.
only had a two-man team. They had Jim Ross and Excalibur, and I was like, and I was telling my buddy when I was watching, I was like, man, why didn't just have Taz be the third guy? And because he was there for the pre-show, so it was kind of like the commentary was kind of so-so,
They
for
didn't
the
pay him
most
to be the
part.
third guy. That's why.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's all about the money, I guess. I mean, they could have cut him a check after, but I don't know. But yeah, so just to have them going from the three-man team all the time to a two-man team, it was kind of like, eh. And the commentary kind of was, was lacking for the most part. But let's get to the opening match, man. We have the Young Bucks versus Proud and Powerful, which that name is kind of, I guess, it may be growing people in a while. I guess they can't use LAX because of Impact. I thought
Yeah.
they would try to figure something out like LA, I don't know, Z or well, I don't know, that's lazy. I don't know, something different. But what do you think about the match, man?
I'll tell you one thing. First of all, I mean, one of the problems with the heel and face dynamic is that the crowd is so hot for the brand, period. And for some, anyone they get that's got a name, we're excited to see them there, and so everyone gets a pop. So LAX got cheered as much as the Bucks.
Yeah,
I think I still call them LAX too. I can't
yeah,
help it. But that match went a little bit long. Ortiz was a little bit over the top, like Bugs Bunny ish, like
yes, yes.
cartoonish falls. Uh,
The-
my girlfriend La Sicaria de la Jaguara said that they didn't look like they were hitting each other, and that it looked like it was comics. But I thought it was fun. I think that the Proud and Powerful should not wear those overall things again because they were definitely getting in the way. And when they weren't in the way, they were sort of falling down and they kept like pulling up their pants. I guess they were supposed to be tributes to old
the
Yankees
Yankees.
baseball uniforms or something, but it wasn't working. And they didn't even use the straps like as a weapon or to choke out or so. There was really no functional use for them. It was just sort of an unfortunate choice. But listen, those guys, they all worked hard. You sort of know what you're going to get in a Bucks match. A lot of diving, a lot of jumping. At some point, Nick, hurt his knee, and that was sort of the story. And I guess that's what made the Bucks vulnerable. And the Bucks are the EVPs, and one of the worries was that all the elite are going to win, and they haven't been. So I mean, no complaints there. I met Santana at Starcast. They were there also, obviously, but Shaheen knows them from the day, so they came over to him to Santana came over to him to just chat and talk up. By the way, I issued a challenge through Santana and Sammy Guevara to Chris Jericho because I want to be the second youngest champion in AEW history. I turn 51 tomorrow, Jericho. If you're listening, I'm coming for you. Stop ducking me.
Yeah, speaking of that match,
I'm glad
man.
they won. It was, I thought it was cool. I liked them as a team. The Bucks will be just fine. So yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah, speaking of Ortiz, that dude was doing some weird ass shit. There was one part where I think it was one of the Young Bucks. They had him on the ground, and then one of them did like the cannonball, onto him. Then he went down on all fours. Then his partner went to the ropes. Santana jumped off him, did the cannonball, and then Ortiz did like this fish flop, which was like he just like did a fish flop and just landed on him, but he only landed on him was like his head, and then the ref started counting, and he never like put his arm on him or try to. It was so weird, and then he got super kicked during the match, and then it almost seemed like he was doing the Ric Flair spot, where he was like. Yeah, but he did it like super weird,
different.
And then
he didn't just go on one leg and then the other leg falls out.
Yeah, he did. It was so weird. It was hilarious though watching it, and I don't remember them doing. I don't remember him doing stuff like that on Impact. So that was kind of like, all right, these guys are like real crazy.
And I guess that Santana goes with his like biting the ring rope gimmick.
Yeah,
I mean he was chewing on the rope for a long time, and we were on the floor.
Yeah,
we were
and then
like
they finally super kicked him.
Yeah, right. But like it was a long enough time that like people in the crowd, including me, were going, "Let go! Stop biting the rope." It's like you're talking to a kid. But yeah, then he got double super kicked. You're exactly right. That was the spot.
Yeah, one other highlight, and it seemed like all the highlights maybe were for Proud and Powerful, because there was one point where one of the Bucks spit his gum out, and it hit, and it went to the floor, and then Santana picked it up, looked at it, and then put it in his mouth, and then then he went for like a clothesline, and then the Bucks ducked it, kicked him, and the gum went flying. It was like so weird, but yeah, at the end of the day, Proud and Powerful did win.
He spit and then, of course, they went to the at the Buck, but he spit too good. It went over his head. I was yelling like, "Stick it in his hair, stick it in his pretty hair," but no, didn't happen. But yeah, it was cool. There was one point I can't remember what somebody said, but the PNP was healing it up, and somebody said something from the crowd that made Santana he turned around and smiled, which I mean it was cool, but he probably shouldn't have done that, but it was cool because he acknowledged it. And the same thing, I yelled cowboy shit to Adam Page at some point, and then he looked over and he sort of gave a half smile, which is okay because he was the face, so that's fine. But it's like when you're that close, they can hear you, and then when they look at you, but the heel's not supposed to do that. But it was still fun.
Yeah, it seems like just watching AEW almost feels like if you're at a house show, where people are more relaxed, and doing, besides how WWE does it, where you can't break character on TV, you can't turn around and smile, you got to be who you got to be. So over there is a different feel. To me, when I watch it, I think of like a house show where people are more relaxed, just having a good time, just putting on a match for the fans. But yeah, so then we had the Rock and Roll Express come in, did some crazy shit. I think it was it wasn't Ricky. It was it Ricky the Blonde? He did kind of like
who did the suicide dive.
Well, then his partner then did the
Ricky did
Destroyer from the rope.
Big moves. Robert has a discernible limp. He really can't walk
true.
well anymore. But the move that Ricky did, I mean, he was just standing there. Everybody else did the move for him. He was he was just along for the ride. I mean, it looked like he did a Canadian Destroyer or something like that. But
coming in from the
Ortiz and the
outside,
Bucks did the Canadian Destroyer for him. I mean, you actually heard them say, "Grab the ropes." I mean, they springboarded him over. It was, I mean, let's see, 63. It was, I'm sure, it was a fun spot for the crowd. I don't like it when 60-year-old men are beating 20-year-old men. I don't think that's. I mean, I don't need to see that. I mean, I know it's a spot and whatnot. But, and then they had seats, and then of course later on they never came back to their seats, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Rock and Roll Express gave up those great seats. Why? That's weird."
Oh yeah, because they went to the back and they could watch it on the monitor.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but once you saw them sitting there, you knew that they were getting involved at some point, and so you. But I guess it was a little bit of a twist, because when you see them there, you figure they're going to help the Bucks win, but they didn't. They helped the Bucks still look good and stand tall after they lost. So that was okay. That was a nice touch. But I'm sure everyone enjoyed people yelling rock and roll and all that. But it was that was a little bit TNA Monday Night Raw, less not pay-per-view.
That's true.
That's true. Me, but I'm an old dude, so
Oh yeah. Let's go to the next match.
Yep.
We had Adam Page versus Pac, and this one was a heavy-hitting match, man. It was really cool. One thing I did like about it, I know you were there live, so you probably didn't notice that. They actually had a camera on one of the ring posts, so when people were on the, doing on the rope moves and stuff, they would turn to that camera and show. So I thought that was really inventive. And I know we'll probably see it tomorrow on Raw, or when they get back to the States, they'll probably put a fucking camera on the ring post now. Since AEW did it, they have to do it. But I thought that was really cool because I haven't seen that before. But yeah, this match was really cool. Really hard hitting match. And Adam Page got the win, man. How do you feeling about that?
I tell you, this match, if it wasn't for the last two matches, which were had such stories to them and were had so much drama going on, I would say the Pac Page match was perfect. I mean, it was great. I mean, it's a hard hitting, old school style match. Pac is amazing. Page is very good. I wouldn't say he's amazing, but he's very good. But Pac is amazing, or Pac is amazing. We didn't see those cameras. Actually, they had them on all of the corners, and during the Moxley match, he actually put a garbage can over one of the cameras. So we thought that what they were going to go for is that you'd see him, someone would fall into the can and the camera would record it inside crushing in, but that didn't happen. He used but we'll get to that later. But yeah, that match, I mean, that was great actually, and that one, La Sicaria approved that match. The other people we were with, my friend's wife, who actually I know from high school, she was very interested in Pac's abdominals. She gave them the seal of approval. But yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Page got the win. I guess they're now even. And my understanding is that match is already confirmed for Dynamite this week. I guess the rubber match or whatnot.
Page did an interview, I guess, after the show. Where he was talking to the reporters. I watched that on YouTube also. It was weird because the first YouTube site that had it was Wrestling Inc. And then like 30 minutes later, because I watched, there was only 4 of them. And, there was the SCU had one, Page had one, Tony Khan had one, and La Champion, Chris Jericho had one. I don't think anybody else had one so far. But it was weird because Wrestling Inc. had it first. And then when I went back, other YouTube channels had the same interviews, but they were having their logo on it. So I don't know, I was like, oh, okay. But it was, the match was good. It, maybe if they had like a stipulation for it or something, because it was just a one-on-one, I guess it was a grudge match. They didn't need like a stipulation per se, like, something on a pole match. But maybe if they had a stipulation, like if somebody wins, then maybe they're next in line for a title or something. But yeah, the match was good. I think it was the best Page match I've seen so far since him coming to AEW.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Paxos, listen, I love the match. I can't. I have nothing bad to say about it. I think it went the right amount of time. I guess the right guy won based on where they're going with things. I mean, they need to build the story. But it looks like Page is staying face. That I predicted Page would win. I told my buddy there. I said Page has to win because they have to be. If he loses, he has to turn heel because of his struggles, and they're already heel heavy. So it's just math.
Yeah.
I thought it was perfect. No complaints. I give that match, on a, I don't think I'm going to give anything, I'm not a Meltzer, so I'm not going to give stars, but, I'd give that a 9 out of, 90, out of 10, just because there was nothing on the line. If they were fighting for the, whatever the Outer Continental title or the Kuiper belt, and then it would have been 10. I love that match. That match is me.
Yeah. The next match is, in my personal opinion, was kind of like the weakest match. And it was Shawn Spears versus Joey Janela. The crowd, from the TV, the crowd was kind of dead this whole match. They didn't really build it up enough. I think that's one thing that was kind of lacking when you watch it live, is that they didn't do like the little promo videos before the match started to show why this match was happening. Because we seen, I think it was at the end of one of the pay-per-views, where Joey Janela put his cigarette out in Tully Blanchard's coffee, and then a week ago, I think on Dark, that's when they got some kind of retribution where Shawn Spears attacked him, in the back. I think he took a plier to his tongue, but then it kind of went they ended the Dark. And then so we had this match. I'm actually liking Joey Janela as a wrestler. Shawn Spears, I think he still has a lot to prove. I think they're kind of misusing Tony Blanchard. I think he should be doing more for him to heal him up. But you were there live. Was the crowd feeling this match, and did you like it?
I think you said things pretty damn well. No. The crowd was dead. Nobody knew why this match was happening. All the things that you just said, I haven't seen. And I mean, we know where we know each other from. Yep. Any wrestling clip that's out there that's big, we're going to see it 12 times a day. I didn't see any of that. I didn't hear about any of that. Nothing of that was mentioned on any Dynamite. So no, there was no reason for it. The only thing they got right is that Shawn won with Tully's help, because why the hell else are you going to pair Tully Blanchard with someone unless they're going to win and he's going to be part of it? I mean, until this point, I think I've only seen Spears win one match. So, why you waste a 4 horsemen on that unless he's just there to lure his daughter away at some point? But, yeah, nobody cared. I don't like Joey Janela. It's not just because I'm a sizist. He actually invaded my body space at StarCast. He came up to the bar right next to me, which would have been fine if the bar was crowded and there was nowhere else to go. But there were only 2 other people standing at the bar, me and one other guy, and the rest was wide open. And he came right like he was trying to get my attention. I don't know why.
Maybe he looked at you as a father figure. Maybe
I don't know what he looked at me as. I mean, but the thing is, he wasn't looking at me. Like he had a jacket on, like a winter coat with his hood pulled down all the way. So not even, and his hair was out like this. So even if his peripheral vision would have made it impossible to see because everything was blocked. It was just weird. It was. I mean, there was 12 feet on one side and probably 12 feet on the other side, and there's just me and another guy, and I have a staff badge on because I'm a vendor, and the other guy was just was a fan. I mean, at least go to the fan, and who might have paid to see him or get a picture of it. It was just weird, but I'm not a Janela fan. Glad he lost. Physically, he doesn't impress me. He doesn't look like he tries.
He's got a little gut. He needs to work on that.
Yeah, let me tell you one thing. And I saw him, Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, and Jimmy Havoc all standing together, all four of them wearing skinny jeans. I am never going to be a fan of any wrestler who can wear skinny jeans, unless
Yeah,
they're female wrestler. So
true.
that is the Maniac Moderator rule number one. If you're a wrestler wearing skinny jeans, I am against you.
Yeah, we're older guys. We didn't come up in that era of skinny jeans. Men don't.
But
I don't know.
I think we've already given more time to this match than it deserves talking about. It was
That's true.
it was worth nothing. I mean, Tully's wearing a suit jacket and like a tennis shirt. I mean, he didn't even dress up for it.
Yeah, he's got good knees for such an old man to come off the steel steps. To assist with that pile driver.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yep.
he looks to be in pretty good. He's thin and all. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah, you're right. This match was this was the one match that was you can even tell just watching it on TV. You could tell this was just a dead match, man. Where it was like, wow, man, the crowd was dead. The match was nothing, because none of these guys were ever like main eventers or like in-ring technicians. So it was just like, why the hell? I was like, man, you got all these other people. You could put a women's tag match or whatever else in there, but they didn't. So the match was kind of a dud. Let's go to the
they
AEW.
they didn't even use the chairman gimmick. I mean, crowd
They
reaction
stole that
was split because one of the drawbacks of having Tully with him is that half the crowd goes like this, 4 for Horsemen, but because he was Ty Dillinger, the other half was like going 10, and so there's not even a flow from the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, now he wants to be the chairman, which he stole from La Parka instead of he should have came out with the pants went, but nothing. So to the next match, and that is the AEW Tag Team Championship 3-way match. Before we get to it, did you feel like this had to be a 3-way match? Because they kind of just they only announced it on Dynamite, where it's like, oh, we're gonna have a 3-way championship match, and I was like, oh, okay.
Out of nowhere.
It was really weird. Yeah, I guess maybe. I understand why they put Private Party in there to eat the pin, so they could keep Lucha Brothers strong. Yep. And before the match started, did you think there was going to be a title change? Did you have like a team favorite going in that you're rooting for? Or?
Oh yeah, I Luchas. I mean, I wore my Pentagon mask the entire match.
Yeah, that shit was a cool ass.
I was yelling, Gringos con mucho miedo, and I was yelling SC Boo. Private Party. Let me tell you a couple of things about Private Party. I sort of get why people like them. They obviously have, they've synced. They've got some cool moves and whatever. The one guy is not intimidating at all, and he always botches at least 2 high spots. And the one,
talking about the skinnier guy with the hair?
No, the guy without the hair, the thinner one.
Okay, yeah.
The guy with the hair with the golden puffs. His punches. Yeah. I mean, I yelled from the crowd, "You punch like a girl." I say, "I take that back. You punch worse than Shane McMahon." and my whole section, which by the way was none too pleased with me, actually started cracking up at that point because he does. His punches were terrible, and it's worse because that's the one where everyone's yelling shot. So everyone's looking at those punches, and they were awful. That match was weird. They definitely hot-shotted. You're right. It was just for the pin to keep Luchas looking strong so they can keep chasing. The end was odd. The lights go out. There's a second Pentagon. It's Christopher Daniels. I mean...
you could tell that a mile away. As soon as the lights came back on, I was like, oh, that's Christopher Daniels. I guess he maybe had visions of being Curryman again or Suicide, wanted to dress up with a mask because...
He just happened to be in full Pentagon gear and face paint with the Ankh painted around his eye. I mean, listen, it's good that he came back. It's good that he's healthy. It's good that SCU is still a threesome as opposed to, sort of Christopher Daniels being jealous because Scorpio Sky became the star and him and Kazarian are the champs.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
That was going to be the story.
That's what I thought too. I thought that was going to be the story, that he would turn on them, because of the jealousy. But he came back too quick, in my opinion. And now it's like, oh, that's not the story,
I'll tell you this. While he's been pretending to be hurt, he's been jacking up his arms.
Yeah.
His I wasn't sure it was him at first because his arms were jacked, but his sort of torso is sort of unmistakable.
Yeah. Yeah. He's always, he's got a real definite, what's the word? He's got a real distinctive look. So as soon as he came on, I was like, oh, that's Christopher. I could tell by the head, because when they showed it from the front, I was like, oh, that's Christopher Daniels, But the highlights were Phoenix in the match. Phoenix is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That dude defies gravity. Just walking the ropes, like in the entrance. As soon as they got to the ring, he walked like damn near like almost 3/4 of the ropes, and then jumped down, and then jumped on the top rope, and got the crowd hyped up when they came to the ring. He jumped the ropes, flipping and flopping. Then he jumped out the ring. Like that dude is amazing. And the what was it called? Not the moonsault. Billy Kidman used to do it. The flip that no, the private party guy when he does that the move off the top rope. Jesus, I can't even think of the damn name now. Not the moonsault. It's the front moons. Instead of flipping backwards, you flip forwards. Billy Kidman used to always do it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name.
Yeah, I forget the name too. But that was a cool looking move. SCU didn't really do anything memorable, in my opinion, in the match. But they got the win. And then Christopher Daniels come out. Don't really know why he wear the paint, but he mentioned it in the interview afterwards with the reporters because they asked him about that. They're like, why did you dress up as Pentagon? He was like, he said, well, they jumped me and I want him in a singles match, so mind games. He says, I could have just ran out there by myself, looking like myself, but that wouldn't get in his mind. So that's why I dressed up. I don't know why he wore the eye paint unless moving forward he's going to start wearing the eye paint again. But yeah, this match was, it was what it was
just in case people didn't know who he was. But I mean, how do you dress up as Pentagon and not have your arms tattooed?
That's true. Because he should have got the sleeves
on both arms.
Yeah, he could have went on Wish or one of these websites and got like the fake sleeve tattoos. And he didn't wear the contacts either. So, that was kind of,
and listen, when the lights go out like that at a pay-per-view and they come back on, I mean, everyone's like, who could it be? I mean, is it Enzo and Cass? Is it? I mean, they couldn't do the Dark Order again because that was a giant disappointment.
Yeah, those guys suck.
And just to be Christopher Daniels was sort of like, okay, SCU, like people like SCU and people like to say SCU, it's fine, but they get a pretty tepid reaction. Private Party gets a pretty good reaction, but the Lucha Brothers was the team that was over. Again, the heel face dynamic, it's all wrong with fan reaction. I mean that'll probably change over time when the fans stop just popping for the brand and rooting for who they're supposed to root for. But I don't know. People love Pentagon and Phoenix. I love Pentagon is the guy who made me decide to accept wrestlers under 250 pounds or under 200 pounds. Phoenix, is the guy that he's like one of the guys that's like, okay, I can accept that a 180 guy can keep up because that'd be spectacular. But I wasn't happy about the end. But you have that whole tournament. They win the team, the thing. If Scorpio Sky really shined in this, it would have made sense to advance that he's going to be the breakout star. But it really wasn't that. It was just sort of everyone was doing their thing.
That's true.
But it was fun. But it was fun. I mean, listen, it was great to see they all worked pretty well together. There were some great spots. That's really all I can say about the wrong team won, in my view, just from a fan standpoint. But storyline, I get it.
Yeah, I felt I didn't really, going into the pay-per-view watching, before I was watching it, from watching wrestling so long, I was like, I don't see any titles changing hands here because the company just started. Yeah, they had like 4 pay-per-views before they actually came on TV. They had Fight for the Fighter Fest, Fight for the Fallen, things like that. But it's like they just got on TV. How are they going to change these titles so quickly? So I didn't expect any title changes. But so I guess maybe next pay-per-view, then we'll see some titles change hands. But I want to talk about this match. To me, I really enjoyed this match. I've seen a lot of hate online for this match. Uh, People were. I was trying to listen to some podcasts yesterday after the pay per view. One podcast that I do listen to, there's only like two of them that I really go to after a pay per view, and that's Solid Monster. I listen to him, and then I listen to one with Matt Morgan. And right before, not even 5 minutes in, with them talking, Matt Morgan was like, "Oh, that Britt Baker and the other girl match should have been on the pay per view. The women's title match didn't do nothing for me," and I turned it off. And I was like, "All right, let me see what Solid Monster is going to talk about." So this is the AEW's Women's Championship match. We have Riho versus Emi Sakura, and you didn't hear Jim Ross's commentary. There was a point in this match where he couldn't get Emi Sakura's name out, and he tried like 4 times, and then he just gave up, and he was like, "God damn it!" right on TV. He couldn't get her name right, so he just said, "God damn it!" and then Excalibur had to say the name. So I thought that was pretty wild. It was pretty cool. But man, I know a lot of Westerners don't know about Joshi wrestling, don't understand the style. For Rio being 22 years old, first AEW champion. A lot of people thought Britt Baker was going to be a shoe-in or Nyla Rose. They gave it to Riho. All right, so in the beginning of the match, well, before the match started, we had Emi come out. We had Emi Sakura come out first, or Sakura. She came out first, and then Rio came out. I don't know if you were able to see it, but Emi was crying, before the bell rang. Did you notice that? Did you see that?
I didn't notice that. I mean, again, the whole face heel dynamic is really weird there because Emi or Emu or whatever her name is,
Emi.
She comes out with sort of like a circus jacket and like a walking stick and that fake mustache. Her music, music.
She's emulating the star from Queen. That's who she highlights her character after. Freddie Mercury. It's a mic. It's a mic on a stick. Yes, that's what she's supposed to be. It's a mic on a stick.
Does L
and the
mean
mustache.
the same thing in Japanese as it does in English? Because that's an L.
They're totally different. I guess she just loves Queen and loves Freddie Mercury, so that's why she has the jacket with the fake mustache. I guess you didn't know that, but yeah, that's what she's.
I did not know that. Yeah, I've seen her on TV. The commentators mentioned it, but nobody cared about this match. I think maybe I saw 30 seconds of it. This was my check Facebook messages, and the ladies got drinks, and this was a giant break. But that whole mustache thing is weird, and I got at the end. I mean, I'm glad the title didn't change because why? At the end, she did the sportsman-like gesture, and there was no clothesline or anything like that. So maybe they are both faces. I'm not sure, but I got the impression from the prior week where Sakura got the pin on Rio in the tag match that she was on the side of heeldom, and this was sort of an abrupt change. It was more like neutral. It was like the two friends with mutual respect, and that wasn't the story going in. So that threw me off also. But honestly, I didn't care. The whole mustache thing bothers me. Didn't care about this match. Don't care about Rio. I'm glad that they hired Big Swole and Jamie Hayter and Shannon contracts. I'm glad Penelope Ford is back and probably better off as a valet manager than a wrestler. I'm not sure that Kong can actually wrestle. I think that's why she's just doing these spots. Maybe she's healing. But I mean, she retired for a reason. They even played out that storyline on Glow. But that women's division needs help. And they had some interesting people in the women's battle royal. I mean, there were some interesting characters there. And there's free agents out there. I mean, Yeah, there's Mercedes Martinez is out there. Ivelisse, who I love, is out there. So there's interesting women wrestlers. I mean, I don't know what Maria Manick's status is. She was in Ring of Honor. Now she's back in Ring of Honor. Um, I don't understand that, but that's I guess that's a different show. But there were decent women, to fill out that division. Um, if you don't mind, I would like to go back to the one thing that might be interesting about the Shawn Spears Joey Janela match.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that is they made a pretty big deal at the end that Janela was hurt. And so the refs and the medical staff came out to help him out, but also Jungle Boy came out. And he was, and I don't think it was just for him to get his pay-per-view appearance payday because they didn't make any big deal about it, but he helped to carry him out as Spears walked away. There was no interplay between them, but I have a feeling that with Luchasaurus being injured, that they don't think the Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy tag team thing is working. So I think what they're setting up is maybe Jungle Boy is friends with Janela. He's going after Spears. I think it's to strengthen Spears for this mid card title that they're coming up with. So I'm thinking that I want this on the record that the Maniac moderator is predicting this, that Shawn Spears will be the first holder of whatever they name that title.
I think they. Well, I'll get to it after, but yeah, there's so many, and that's the thing. There's so many wrestlers there that I just don't know who's going to hold that secondary title because Hangman Page might be the first one if they don't get him to the heavyweight title championship. Pac, is there. Kenny Omega, John Moxley. There's so many guys, so it just really depends on who they want to establish. And Shawn Spears is a good person if they give him more time on TV to shine. Because right now he's only had 2 matches, and the crowd is kind of dead for him. So we have to see what happens.
I hear you, Villain, but I'm on the record now. I'm on video. I can't take it back.
That's true. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about this women's match because I really like Riho. I really like what she brings to the to television. It's a different style. I know she laughs. She smiles a lot. But yeah, it was weird because right in the beginning of the match, we had Sakura crying. And then they really showed her face, and you can see the tears. And then she had to get to the point where they were making introductions where she had to kind of like get in the zone. And after the match, the last 2 minutes of this match, I thought was amazing. Like, I was like, holy shit, did they just go into the Matrix? Because they started doing all these counters and all these weird things I've never seen before in a match. Not in a women's match, not in a men's match. And then for her to get the kind of roll up pin, I thought that was great. And they show love because just to hear these women's stories, from Riho starting training at 9 years old, Sakura's being her teacher, her mentor. And I looked her up on Google, and Sakura took her to Brazil, I believe, and they had a women's wrestling over there. So Riho was able to win the championship over there. Then they got signed to AEW, and it was I think it was a good story. And I think this might be the biggest crowd that maybe they both ever fought in. And for the teacher to see her student come up, maybe that's why it was so emotional. But I thought it was a great match. I thought the ending was amazing. I can't wait to watch it again just to see that whole chain wrestling they did in the last 2 minutes before the pinfall. But yeah, I thought it was good. A lot of people, I don't know what they want when it comes to women's wrestling, but maybe some more power moves here and there. But I really enjoyed it. But anyway, let's get to our
show. So everyone's not going to like everything, and
That's
it's
true.
cool that you like that. I didn't. I probably like something else that you didn't. I mean, if everybody liked everything, that would probably be weird. But I mean, I'm sure there's some people who love everything, but it's a variety show, and in a 4-hour match, everybody needs a little break, and your break is different than mine. That's great. I mean, the line at the bathroom is that much shorter.
That's true. Let's get to the match everybody is talking about, and that is the AEW World Championship match. We had Le Champion Chris Jericho versus Cody. Do they even say Rhodes?
They do
No, they
not.
can't call him Rhodes. No, that's the one thing that's pissing me off with WWE. They can't call Cody Rhodes, but they could call Dustin Rhodes. So it's fucking weird because WWE owns the rights to the name Rhodes. So
Cody said that they don't. He can use his name anytime he wants. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't get it. It doesn't make much sense to me. But yeah, it is goofy just to hear Cody. Also, because Cody is not a tough guy name. So
it's not.
I think it would help with the. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore because he's
Yeah.
one of the top guys in the world now. But if he wasn't, I think it would help to have a last name.
Yeah, because even his boots says CR on them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then they come out and call him Cody. It's like, yeah, it's
He
like
doesn't come out Brandy anymore because she's like the voodoo vampire witch priestess thing.
Yeah, yeah, because so they come out. He comes out first since he's the challenger. Yeah, he came out first. So he's in the, they got the pyro. He's looking left. He's looking right. It seems like he's waiting for Brandy to come out, but she doesn't. But then MJF comes out wearing an all black suit. So I was like, okay. Oh, they announced the judges. Before that, we had Dean Malenko, Arn Anderson, and the Great Muta. So that was really cool, to see those guys there. I never thought this match was going to go 60 minutes.
Nope.
But, once they introduced those judges, I was like, okay, maybe they will. I figure they'll start the match slow and then, pick up from there. Why is my mic sounding weird? I'm getting feedback. Sorry about that.
I'm not hearing anything on my end that sounds weird.
Okay. Because it's just like I hear an echo. So. But anyway, I'll just keep talking then. Yeah, and then you had Cody. Then you had the champion come out, Chris Jericho, and then he comes out with Jack Hager. They come into the ring. We have Audrey as the referee. The match was started as a slow pace and kind of build up, but you were there live. Let me hear from you your experience of seeing these guys come out. Chris Jericho holding up the title, the atmosphere in the arena, and then the bell rings. Let me get what's your breakdown.
All right. Well, first of all, I know people love Justin Roberts, but this is the first title defense on pay-per-view, and he sort of made a joke of the whole thing. I mean, it started out cool. He said he's the grandson of a plumber. That was cool. Then he goes, the father of a husky.
Yeah.
Which is, that's trivial. It's like, it's just serious. It's not time to joke. When they announced
Cody,
three judges.
Don't mean to cut you off, but Cody smiled.
Yeah.
When he said that, they showed Cody in the camera and he smiled, and I was like, I might break his concentration. But go ahead.
Yeah. When they announced the three judges, I thought the crowd was going to go crazy for them. They didn't. There was no reaction there were very little reaction for Arn, Dean, and Muta.
Oh wow.
Muta didn't even gesture. He didn't even wave or raise his hands. I could see the top of their heads from where I was. But somebody else said that during the whole match, they weren't even pretending to take notes, that they all had pens and pads and none of them wrote a thing, which, if anybody was looking, the attention to detail, they would know that it's not going to the judges. Just thank God, who wants to see a 60-minute match? But let me tell you, Cody's entrance was spectacular. It was dramatic. It was superhero. It was awesome. The lighting on him, made his arms look 20 times bigger than they are. His face is pretty chiseled, so I mean, it looked like a superhero entrance. It was pretty hot, and the dramatic effect was mostly, I think, just to soak it in. And I'm sure there's people out there are saying that it's self-indulgent and whatever, but the crowd wanted it. If he wanted it to, so be it. But it was a good entrance. It was hot. He came in, he got his adulation and everything, and then they announced Jericho, who got a bigger pop than Cody, or at least as big. Jericho's song is amazing. I bought it today. I can't believe I bought a Fozzy song.
Oh, nice.
But Jericho, just everything he does is he just owns the place. He just, I don't know. I don't know that the camera always catches it, but just everything, the way he walks, the pace, the looks on his face, how he looks at everyone in the crowd. Like Cody, when he was looking at the crowd, you know how Hogan used to do the ear thing and whatever and look at the crowd to get them to cheer? Cody looked like he was doing it, but you could tell with his eyes what he was doing was counting how many empty seats there were and how many full seats there were. And then he would smile because he remembered he's at the show. And it was just like a split second. I mean, the arena seats about 14,000, and there were about 8,000 sold when we came in. And I know this because I asked the ushers. More people came. People bought at the window, and I would say before the night was over, it was probably closer to 9,500, 10,000. But I mean, the upper deck has two halves. One half was completely empty. So I don't know, if that's 1,000 seats or more or whatever. And there were other sections that weren't tarped off that were completely empty. But that's not really important. That was great. Jericho's entrance was great. I yelled to Jake Hager, "Who dresses you?" I mean, comes out in that stupid golf shirt. I mean, wear a black suit or something, an athletic apparel. He's a pretty good big guy, but he's not that big. It's not that big. He's not like the Warlord or Diesel, where just his very presence is that intimidating. He should Big Bubba Rogers it a little bit and look more security. He also had very obvious earpieces in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I guess to tell him when it was his time to get involved and whatnot, but I don't know. But anyway, Jericho's pop was huge. He was great. People were saying "fuck your birthday," and he said, "Wait, what'd you say? What'd you say?" He climbed out of the ring and he goes to Jake Hager. "Who said that?" And they're like pointing out in the ring and into the crowd and all that. Like he's really bothered. Nothing else bothered that. Like people would cheer. He'd give them the finger. They'd still cheer. He would put a half smile on, and then he'd give them the finger again. I mean, he's just great. It's his world, and he knows it. The match
Would
itself.
You say that this was? Yeah, go ahead.
The match itself, I thought it was pretty darn perfect. I mean, as it turns out, the blood was not planned. It seemed like it was. Like the ref was sort of distracted. It seemed like it was a good opportunity to blade. And then later on, like it stopped bleeding. Later on, it started bleeding. So it almost seemed like he rebladed. There were two medics who ran down to the corner of the ring. They never got involved, but they were they were two 20-something women who looked like they were in shape with they looked like they were probably wrestlers in training. They didn't look like they were Baltimore City medics. I mean, they're every demographic of it was. I mean, the odds of two medics in Baltimore City actually, being like that. I mean, the response team is pretty close to zero. So I thought it was all the work, but everyone's saying it's not. I don't know. I didn't see the fall because I was on a floor seat. So the pitfall being on the floor is that you can't see what happens below the ring. The match was great. I mean, the throwing in the towel became obvious only when he was gesturing with the towel. So it was sort of the Montreal Screwjob and Bob Backlund and Arnold Skaaland homages to both. And then, I mean, MJF looked like he was crying in the middle of the ring. Nobody was. I mean, everybody came in expecting him to turn, but at that point, it looked like Cody was going to be the one that was going to unload on him. And then you got the low blow and whatever he said to him, we couldn't understand it, but apparently he was saying it's my turn now or it's my time now, and walked around and walked away. But the judges didn't get involved at all. They didn't even Dean Malenko I think stood up for about 2 seconds with Jericho. Jericho strolled out of there. Le Champion. His boys came out with the bubbly. They did that whole thing. The spot with Cody's mom was pretty funny, where she slapped Jericho and then she reached down and slapped him a second time. That was but I thought that match. Listen, I'm not a big Cody fan, but I think he's had 2 of the best matches of the year and his career this year. His one against Dustin was fabulous, and this one was fabulous. And and when he was legit hurt, I mean, Jericho played it off like he didn't miss a beat, which was another reason I thought it was a work, because Jericho told Hager to get something, and then he's like, "No, the chair." And Hager gives him the chair, and Aubrey's like, "Don't hit him, don't hit him." And he just puts it down and he starts sitting on it. He's like, "Count him out, count him out." I mean, it was so natural. It's like he, obviously he's been in the business, 30 years, but still, I mean, it felt like it was scripted, and if it wasn't, more credit to Jericho. He is brilliant, and he was great, and so was Cody. Give him credit. This match, this turn, the whole way it played out, when you know that somebody's going to turn and it still surprises you when it happens, well done. I tip my hat to you, sir. I've been watching. I'm 51 tomorrow. I've been watching this since I'm like 6. So well done.
Oh shit! Well, happy. Well, I wish you a happy birthday tomorrow. But that's awesome. I didn't know your birthday was tomorrow. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my second half of my century.
Nice. I hope hope I make it there. We got
No
I
doubt.
got some time left. But yeah, the Cody spot. They showed the replay again because at first I was like, "What the hell happened?" And when they showed it, it looked like he dove, and Chris Jericho actually moved out the way. And when he went down, he hit his face, which was weird. Instead of like putting his arms down to like protect himself, so he hit his face. And at first I thought, okay, maybe he bladed, but the way the cut looked, it was almost like a lot. It was almost like a U, on his face. And then
Like
Chris Jericho
the eye ridge, like it followed the ridge of the eye. It wasn't a straight cut.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, maybe he bladed. But the way, the doctors rushed over to it, I was like, okay, maybe. And then, Aubrey, she was kind of like, you could tell she was like, oh shit, she had to go out the ring. And then Chris Jericho was like, oh, okay. So when he got the chair, Aubrey was really good in this one for being such a ref. She hasn't been a ref that long, a couple years. So for her being in this high profile match, especially one of your bosses, she must be like, oh shit, especially with a crowd that big, like you said, maybe 1,000 people, or what was it? Yeah, 1,000 people in the audience. So
by the end,
no, 10,000. That's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah, she held her own. When Chris Jericho got the chair, I was like, why is she not grabbing it? I was like, this is not a disqualification match. But he put the chair down. He's sitting there, and then when Cody got back in the ring, he got up and just kicked Cody in the face. I was like, damn, this guy's just so good, And then of course there was a sequence where Jake got involved. He punched Cody, and then he punched Cody without the referee seeing, and then
he beat the crap out of MJF too.
Well, yeah, Cody went for a roll up after that. He threw Chris Jericho into Jack. So when Jack fell to the ground, he didn't fall. He landed on his feet. Then Cody went for roll up, and then it got a 2 count. And then when Chris Jericho pushed him off, he went face first to Jake, and Jake hit him. And Audrey seen that, but she didn't disqualify the match. She just sent him out of there. And you could tell Chris Jericho was such a veteran in the ring because he knew what the cue was supposed to be. Because she looked at Jake and she pointed at him. And then she did like this, and then when she was doing, the whole lineup doing the whole thing, Chris Jericho was standing next to her. He moved back. He moved out the way so she could point to the back so the crowd could pop. And then that's when MJF came around, and then he was waving at him, and he was saying, on the camera, you can hear him saying, nah, 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 trying to get the crowd into it. But I guess the crowd
was not buying it.
The crowd just couldn't listen to him. And then, he got his ass whooped. But yeah, Cody's mom, it's like the one that was really cool. She smacked Jericho, but she's wearing a jacket, and it says "mom" on it. Like okay, instead of like graphic coming up like Cody Rhodes' mom, they're like, oh, that's Cody's mom.
The Atlas security guy standing right next to her wasn't giving it away either.
Yeah. In case you didn't know who she was, her jacket says "mom" on it. But yeah, she smacked Jericho. And then Cody spears him in the rail, and then she smacked him again on the back of the head. I thought that was great. Yeah, but when I really liked that Chris Jericho put him in the Lion Tamer because he just stopped doing that in WWE for a long time, where he's got the knee on the guy's back and on the head, and then he started doing the stomps to the head, and and then that's when out of nowhere MJF just has this fucking beach towel next to him, holding it, and you're like, oh, okay, now we figured out how the finish was gonna go. So that was kind of like, it's like he didn't come out with a towel. Like, did he go under the ring and just fucking pull the towel out? So I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, when he threw the towel in, and the low blow was cool. He's a heel turn. Maybe on Dynamite, maybe it's gonna be revealed that maybe he's part of the Inner Circle. That I guess that could work.
I think he's gonna be solo.
Yeah, he might be solo. Yeah, that's true. But that because they're the only heel group right now in the thing. But yeah, the match was great. It was one of the best matches I've seen between Jericho.
Six is bloated for a faction with a 30-person
Yeah,
roster.
yeah, that's true. Maybe a woman. They asked Jericho that after the show. You know, he was with the reporters. He said, yeah, if a woman comes, that'd be cool. He says, they got to prove themselves and get in.
It's got to
Yeah,
be the
but yeah,
right
you're
one.
right.
Either somebody who hasn't
Yeah,
been signed yet, or somebody like no heel has been winning.
that's
So
true.
I don't know who it would be right now that's on the roster, but it'd be fine. I mean, because they're not competing the same way, but they can still get involved. But it's different titles, so that'd be fine. But yeah,
The match,
the
yeah, the
cut.
match went about 40 minutes, so that was all right. Um, it didn't go a whole hour, but it went about 40 minutes. But what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I saw the cut afterwards. It definitely looked like a natural cut, but they played it off well. And editorial people give Aubrey a lot of grief. I don't know why. I don't think that she's any more involved or animated than any of the other refs.
She's not. Yeah,
She's fine. She's good. I mean, the only difference is
yeah,
she
she's
wears
great.
lipstick. I don't know what the issue is. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
try.
think she was perfect.
Yeah.
I think she's amazing for what she does. She doesn't take away from a match, and for her to be the first woman referee in men's matches was cool. And then of course NXT had to copy it and sign a woman
Mhm.
referee, after the fact. But I think it's a milestone that people were just neglecting, and she works hard for it. I doubt she got any breaks.
But
It's
she's
not
good
like
at it.
yeah,
She's good at it. And what she doesn't do, and I guess she will. I mean, I don't know what's more equal than not, but she doesn't play the stupid clueless ref.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, maybe one day
yeah,
she'll be able to, and when the world's a little bit brighter. Um, but she's not. She doesn't miss stuff. You like the thing with Hager, and
yeah,
she threw him out, and Jericho's like, don't disqualify, don't disqualify, and she kicked him out, and that was good. I mean, everything was
yeah.
good. She didn't miss it. She wasn't stupid. She didn't call the match. She ejected him. It was all good. By the way, I will say this about Hager. He's not that interesting. He dresses like a bum, but when he hit Cody, it looked real, and when he beat up MJF, it looked savage. So
Yeah.
whatever his moves look real. So
Oh yeah.
and up close they look real. But that's it. But I thought it was great. Everyone in the crowd loved it. Everyone was shocked. I know everyone said that MJF got nuclear heat. I wouldn't call him nuclear. I mean, he got booze, but it wasn't like deafening. Yeah, one guy threw the beer or the water at him or whatever,
Yeah.
and he played that well too. But it wasn't scripted.
No.
It took him by surprise, but he gave the smile. And he's like, yeah. I mean, the smile both said, yeah, fuck you, and yeah, I'm supposed to get this reaction at the same time. So he knew that it went well, and whatever. But it wasn't like deafening booze. It was like okay booze. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think it was hate because everybody was waiting for it.
Yep, that's true. Everybody was holding their breath, waiting to see when they'll finally do it, so they could release it. Like, yeah, I knew. One
And
of the
people
other
favored
highlights.
Jericho. People want, people were all about Jericho in the inner circle. I mean, so it's
Yeah,
like he did us all a solid.
yeah. Speaking of the ref Aubrey, there was two highlights in the match for me. Was when Jericho kind of shoved her on the shoulder, and then she shoved him back, and then Cody got the roll up for the near 3 count. I thought that
Mhm.
was cool. And for Chris Jericho to come out with the weight belt, with the designs and the Le Champion, and then
Yeah,
Cody had the weight belt saying Cody versus Jericho. But then when Chris Jericho took the weight belt off and started whipping Cody on the back, she didn't disqualify him right then and there. And I'm like, oh, it's being real lenient. I guess he is kind of like a Hulk Hogan now, where in championship match, you don't want to disqualify him for doing that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, because when he took the weight belt off, he started whipping Cody on the back. He whipped him like 4 times. And I was like, okay, she's not disqualifying him. So I guess he's got the Hulk Hogan rule, because
oh,
Hogan did that in WCW. Hogan used to always take the belt off and whip people on the
right.
back. And the referees will always be like, oh, and take it away from him after a while. Be like, hey, but they didn't want to disqualify him because it was a championship match. So I thought that was cool. And yeah, right when the fan threw the water or the beer on MJF, the camera was fixed on MJF, and you seen him kind of look over there. But then he's like, all right, you know what? He smiled. And then when they kind of started panning away, you seen actually security going over there, and you seen 3 refs behind security to go get that fan out of there.
Yeah,
so that was actually that was actually
pretty rough.
And that
the weight belt thing. This is I figured that maybe the commentary talked about it, but I guess they didn't. I didn't hear it.
No,
I took
didn't.
it. The rules in AEW, they're not exactly clear. Like when there's a 10, it's supposed to be a 20 count to get back in before disqualification, but the wrestlers are still getting in at 9.5. They're not using that other 10 seconds. So it's like you sort of need to train the fans to get used to 20. But what I
think it's 10. I think it's 10.
Into this match, and your point was that I assumed that the weight belt was just like any other foreign object or using the ropes as a weapon. That you get the 5 or 10 count, and as long as you stop by then, you don't get disqualified. That's all I took that to, and I thought that she was warning him, and it was like when she was going like this, it was sort of a count, and it was like 3 or 4 times, and then he never got to 5, and he threw the belt away, and I figured that's what it was, and I figured the commentary was talking about it, but that was my interpretation of it. Maybe I just made that up in my head.
Yeah, you're right about the rules that are kind of murky because we don't know what the rules are, but I believe in a tag match, instead of having 5 seconds to get out the ring, you're getting allowed 10 seconds. So that's where it's kind of like fans.
It's a 20 count, not a 10 count to be disqualified.
That's the Japanese style. That's New Japan style. Yeah, it's going to take people a lot longer.
The wrestlers aren't using it to train us.
Yeah, because most of them haven't fought in New Japan. So that's the problem. Like, there's only a few of them that wrestle New Japan that know about that. So that's why. And the refs, none of them refereed in New Japan. So I think that's that might go away. Just go back to 10 maybe because nobody's understanding that.
But Justin,
they don't tell us on TV.
The timekeeper's right. Somebody can say, you don't need to get in at 9. You don't need to go yet.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I guess they're not beating the people over the head with because it is lost on translation. It's
going to be important though, and we need to remember. So they need to use it. Listen, there's nothing more boring than a 20 count. 25 count, but they have to use that and make it clear a few times so that when we're watching, we understand, because they need to also understand that we're watching probably WWE, we're watching NXT, we might be watching New Japan, we might be watching, we're watching more on one promotion, so we need to know the differences.
I think that's what's kind of hindering them with that rule because fans are so used to the American, wrestling. There's only a small portion of American fans that watch New Japan. So and the wrestlers, if they haven't gone over there, then they don't know, so they're so used to coming in at 10 count, and the referees are so used to doing a 10 count that's what's getting lost. So they need to figure that out, make it more clear which way they want to go on that. They want to do 10, they want to do 20, then stick to one and make beat it over the fans' heads so they know, hey, on this promotion it's a 20 count to get back in the ring because everybody always comes in at 9. So they need to figure that out because if they have that 20. Then start using it and start, getting in the heads of the fans because everybody's so used to just the American style, which is 10. But now next is the match that really weird to me. This is the lights out unsanctioned match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. I've seen a lot of fans. When I watched it, to be honest, when I was watching this match, there was certain points where I was kind of like, okay. I was a little bored. I never thought the violence was like so extreme where I was like, oh man, this is ridiculous. And I seen that today. A lot of people were divided about the violence in this match. I didn't think there was that violent. I thought they had good moves. Some of the stuff was cool. The blood on the back of Kenny Omega, the blood on the back of the neck of Moxley. I was like, holy shit. Once he hit him with the broom, with the barbed wire, and then you just seen blood just coming down Moxley's neck. But to me, I thought this match went a little too long, in my personal opinion. Every time the wrestler would get out the ring, start searching under the ring, get another weapon, come in, fight a little bit, go back out the ring, search on the ring. I was like, okay, this is kind of, repetitive at that point. That's what I was like, I was watching. I was like, all right, it's cool. Then it's like, okay, he's out the ring again. Oh, he's under the ring looking for something. Okay. Oh, he's got something. Oh, he's throwing it back in the ring. So that to me was kind of like started getting boring or kind of like, it was like the same shit all the time. I thought that And the ending, I thought was cool if we didn't see it on NXT, a couple months ago, when we had Champa versus Gargano, where he took the ring out, and you seen the bottom of the ring. And at that point, when Moxley was doing that, I was kind of like, well, he kind of looks like Champa because Champa wears fatigue pants. His pants are kind of fatigued. He's kind of got the bandit, the arm stuff like Champa. He's got a beard, not as big as Champa. So I was like, we did see this already, So I was like, but yeah, I thought it was good. It wasn't so extreme where I was like, oh my god, these guys are killing each other. Both of these guys are too smart to risk severe injuries. Both of these guys are on top of the game. They want to be able to wrestle and to be healthy for 10 years down the line. So I didn't see nothing where it was like, okay, these guys are gonna, hurt each other. So I thought everything was kind of tempered. The glass, you could tell it was sugar glass. Some people didn't know. I was like, he's not going to put real glass in John Moxley's mouth. They're paying him millions of dollars. This guy, left WWE, he's not getting paid, $40,000 a year. This guy's getting millions of dollars to wrestle for them. He's not going to fucking put glass in his mouth. And, so to me, I thought it was a good match. The winner, when it came to the end, John Moxley win, I thought it was cool. But you were there live. I know you've read some stuff on the internet. What are your thoughts, brother?
On the big picture of your point, I'm with you. I don't understand the surprise. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was over the top. One of my friends described it as being CZW light. I haven't watched a lot of death matches, but I mean, this would have been a light death match compared to the very few I've seen, and I'm sure the ones I've seen have been, less extreme. They called it unsanctioned. I mean, there was a couple like nitpicky things. I mean, if it's unsanctioned, why is there a ref? Why is he wearing a black and white ref shirt?
He was there the whole time watching.
And on top of, I mean, listen, but we figured out still somebody needs to count if there's a pin. But maybe you should have worn a ref shirt. They said they're going to turn out all the lights. They didn't turn out all the lights. They turned out some of them. And it makes sense, but it wasn't. It didn't even look like it was just the emergency lights that are always on or something. But they could have done something like that. And then the guys brought in spotlights or whatever as opposed to the overhead lights. They brought in their own stuff and have the Bucks each roll in a big light and Page roll in a big light and I guess Moxley's not aligned with anyone. But there were a couple times where the ref looked like he was enforcing rules about like not using the rope, like rope breaks, which was a little bit weird. And people in the crowd were picking up on it. I mean, not just me. I mean, there were other people doing it too. I mean, I'm nitpicky by nature. I know that, but other people were saying the same stuff. But I don't get the bipolar nature of the fandom. What they think was going to happen. I mean, they called it unsanctioned. They were teasing barbed wire bats and the barbed wire broom or mop all along. That's what they got. I didn't think it was boring at all. I thought it was great. I think everyone in the crowd loved it. They went into the not the stands, but the floor, all four corners of or 3 out of 4 corners of the building, including ours at the end. Some of the things took a little bit long to set up, like the whole thing with Omega trying to, like the Bucks and Page trying to talk him out of something, and then they brought like that bed frame or whatever it was with
barbed wire.
A barbed wire panel. That's about as good a term as any, I guess. But it was like almost like a king size bed frame filled with barbed wire lining.
There's no proper name for it. I'm not sure if those
guys got stuck in it or not. They took a long time to help them out. I don't know if that was real or not real. But aside from that, I mean, I get it. They were trying to talk Kenny out of it, and Moxley had to win that match because again, my buddy, I told him that at the beginning. He's like, no, Kenny Omega's too good for this. They didn't bring him in to lose. I'm like, nah, man. Because, first of all, this is what Moxley's known for, not Omega. Omega will get his comeuppance in a regular wrestling match. He'll win that, again, hard fought. But the whole thing with Kenny has been sort of like he left his heart in Japan. He sort of has some morass going on, and so that has to continue by this. But it was great. Kenny Omega, when he hits the V trigger right, and those those sort of full Nelson suplexes he does
They
are
call it Snapdragon. Snapdragon.
that's a good name for it.
Yeah, because not to cut you off, but he did that in Japan every match about 3 times, and I was always wondering like, how doesn't he fucking break somebody's neck? And when I was watching it yesterday, he puts the hands there so he kind of covers your neck. So when he does it, you don't break your neck. Because I was like, he does it so fast, and it's like, in WWE or anywhere else, if you do a German or you do another back suplex, you kind of do it a little slower. I mean, it's fast, but it's not that fast. Where it's like shit. How does nobody break the neck? But he, I guess he covers the whole neck, and when he does it, that's why I was like, fuck, man. And you could tell none of these guys were seriously injured after the match, so that was cool.
There's a huge difference when you see Omega do the 3 in a row versus like when Matt Jackson did it with Ortiz and Santana. You could tell that the two of them are working it together to do it. It doesn't. You can see that it's choreographed. It's like stunt dancing. With Omega, it looks real. I mean, I get the hype around him. I didn't see a lot of his matches before this. I don't watch New Japan. I don't want to watch New Japan. Whatever I saw of it was on Ring of Honor, in their pay-per-views and whatever. And it's fun, but I'm not interested in that whole thing. But so his whole overact, like always going like this and woo, and then like his overacting, it's very cartoonish. And it takes a while to look past that, but I'm starting to. But he's very fluid. He's very fast. He's very smooth. Everything's crisp. But I thought it was great. The Moxley stayed for a while afterwards, like taking his time. He took after the copyright sign went off. He was still playing to the crowd. He was giving everyone the finger. Then he was doing the double burb. Then just putting his hands up, like in character, out of character. He went to the stage corner, the exit party. He took 2 bows, which could have been like true thank you for the show, but also like screw you. I know I did good. It could have been either way. It was well done. The whole time Omega's out in the corner. And the Bucks and Page are out there tending to him like he died. I mean, the one thing I didn't like is for 40 years they've been telling us there's no padding under the mat. Well, you take off the tarp and there's an inch of thick padding.
Yep.
And so I mean, it's like Cornette always says you're killing the business. That was killing the business.
That's true. For you watching it live, or being there live, and for us watching it on TV, Moxley actually cussed a couple times where he actually said the F word. Yeah, I don't know if you heard it from when he was going in. He said it. He's like, oh yeah, this is what you fucking wanted. And Jim Ross was like, it was like, yeah, no, we're not gonna repeat that. So it was pretty cool to hear him, drop the F bomb, because he dropped it like twice.
Well, Jericho flipped the bird, and I think he cursed too. There were others that did it, but yeah, we heard it. It didn't surprise or shock anyone around me. I mean, I guess if you brought little kids, but sort of caveat emptor on that one.
Which was cool.
I don't think there were. I mean, there were kids there, but not a lot. I mean, it's very different than most wrestling shows I've been to. This was not a family show. It was mostly 20 and 30 somethings. It's exactly what you thought. I mean, this is a millennial and Gen Y promotion.
I don't know. Yeah, no, it's because it's cool to hear him cuss, because I know you say you don't watch New Japan, but over there they could cuss all the time. In their interviews they're dropping the F word. There's no censored. In the matches he's cussing left and right. So it was refreshing to hear him, but I think Jim Ross kind of wasn't used to that. So he was like, "Oh my God," when he first cussed, when Moxley first cussed, and then when he was in the ring second time cussed, Jim Ross was kind of like, "Oh," he didn't know what to do about it or what to say. But yeah, I thought it was cool because you don't get that in nowhere else. Like you might hear, a wrestler say, shit or oh damn it, but you hear him say fuck, So it was actually cool, but. So the pay-per-view ended, man. What is your overall thought or grade on the pay-per-view?
Look, when you're in the crowd, it's always better, I think. I mean, there's a lot of fun whenever whenever you were experiencing something with other people, there's always more energy and whatever. So, I mean, listen, I had few complaints. I didn't give a darn about the Rio match. I mean, so I can't really. I'm like, I almost have to abstain because I promise you, I didn't even watch it. I mean, it was in my seat, but I didn't watch it. I saw maybe 2 minutes out of the 12 minutes or however long it went, aggregate. The Spears Janela match was fine, but it was nothing. That could have or should have been on the pre-show. I'm not saying that the Baker Priestley match should have been on the regular show, though the spot with Kong would have made sense to be on the regular show. So I don't think that would have been an unfair trade. And that match, in my view, was better than the Joshi match. But maybe it's just because that's the kind of match I'm used to as opposed to the other. The funny thing is I'm sorry, I don't know the guys from Private Party's name. I think one of them is Marcus Quinn, and the other I don't know.
Something Cassidy.
Cassidy. He's okay. In this match, he does the weirdest scream. He screams like one of the Josie girls. And he does it like everyone's like, "What the hell is that?" But La Sicaria, do you want to make an appearance on TV? La Sicaria de la Jaguara, she's here. You want to come in? No, she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to become a star. She knows that everyone's going to want her. Look her on wrestling shows everywhere. I would give it. Walking out, I would have given it a 9. In hindsight, I'd probably give it more like a 8, 8.5. Is probably more fair. I have a feeling this show was better without the commentary. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you're guaranteed. I definitely agree with you because what I said in the beginning, I wish that they would have kept Taz on commentary, because he used to do it. I think he used to do it with Jim Ross. So that was kind of confusing. It's like, man, if you don't have Tony Schiavone, why not let Taz jump in there and have the 3-man booth? Yeah. Because it was kind of flat for a while with Jim Ross and Xavier. Xavier is it's
Excalibur.
Excalibur. So it was kind of flat for a while.
He's not. He doesn't emote. He's like despite the mask, he's the straight man. And Jim Ross is sort of a straight man too, and he doesn't emote like he used to, and he's tired, and he doesn't really know who all the people are. I don't care what anyone says. He's not giving this his full attention, and you can tell he's had a bunch of strokes or something. His voice is not.
That's true. Yeah, he did come alive for the Jon Moxley and Kenny match. I think that was his best throughout the whole night. So other than that,
the match to be good during though. I mean, that if you just reacted by going, "My God," I mean, you could have done that all night, and everyone's going to salivate over that being Jim F. and Ross.
Yeah. He could have said all his classic lines from the Attitude Era, like, "Oh my God, don't you know he has a family? Like, man, where's the nearest hospital? These both, he could have said all that."
That's what I said during the Cody match. I yelled, "My God, he's got a husky. Think of the husky. Pharaoh needs a father."
Yeah. But it was great hanging with you.
You too.
What's your grade? Moderator.
What was your grade?
I really enjoyed it. I haven't really watched the full-length pay-per-view, but because the last one we seen was Hell in a Cell that most people watch, and that was, and then you had the Saudi show, which was what the fuck. But so I enjoyed this one. The weakest match to me was the Joe Janelli Spears one. But for me, I thought the matches, the last 2 matches, I thought went a little too long. But I'll have to say, I'll give it about an 80, a B minus, for their first, So as long as they keep getting better, since they're going to space out. The good thing about them is they're not going to do a pay-per-view every month.
No.
So that's a good thing. So, next pay-per-view should be a lot better. The storylines would, have a lot more build, so the next pay-per-view. So, I think they'll just keep hopefully they'll get better and better and learn from their mistakes.
I hope so. I mean, a lot of these stories seem to be hotshot. A lot of them seem to lose their direction. I don't know if that's on purpose or not. I know they're talking about that they want to, people are saying, "Oh, well, I have the freedom to do long arc stories. I never had that before." I'm like, how do you know this? It's been 6 weeks. How do you know you have the freedom?
That's true.
I mean, maybe right now you have the freedom to do long arc stories, but somebody changes their mind, before. So I don't, right. It's I don't know that we as the fans ever got to see something built from ground one, warts and all. I mean, I don't think we had the same exposure with ECW or TNA or Ring of Honor. I think just one day they were there. I don't think the internet wasn't there. It wasn't so public. So we're seeing everything. There's so many sources of information. They're not all good, but so people have sort of picked sides. If you critique, you're a hater. If you, but I like the show. I had a great time. That's all I can judge it on. I mean, I overpaid for the tickets. I needed 4 in a row. I had a logistical thing. I'm not wasting this show's time on that. I posted about it. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's a little thing that shouldn't have happened, and it's not the arena's fault. It was someone at AEW caused it to happen, but it's doesn't matter. I enjoyed the show. I came in excited. I left happy. What more?
That's all that counts.
Yeah, I thought the last 2 matches were great. I mean, I'll never complain if a match is 5 or 6 minutes shorter, but I didn't have any complaints about the length of that one. Maybe the Bucks PNP match went a little bit long, and the Janela match I didn't think it was good, but it wasn't long.
No,
I mean they could have gotten rid of the Josie match and put their wild cards on. I don't know if they put Darby Allin and OC and some of their maniacs and let them do a maniac spot match. That would have been fine with me, I guess. I don't know, I guess they had to have the women's title match on the card. Yeah. It wouldn't have made sense not to. But yeah, no, I thought it was real good, and to have I mean, in a 4-hour show, I think everybody needs one match to be a break for them. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
All right, well, we're wrapping it up here. That is the Maniac moderator. I want to thank him for being here tonight with me. Where can the good people find you, brother, if you want to be found?
If you want to find me, well, I'm not really in show business, but if you want to find me, I'm on the Solid Monster Sounds Off Facebook page all the time. I'm also in the PW Hustle fairly often. I am in an AEW group, the one with like 115,000 members, which is a little bit cray-cray. But I don't know. If anybody, for whatever reason, wants to hear more from me, let the villain know. He's my ticket to paradise.
Thanks, brother.
He's my rocket fuel. I'm just a remora feeding off his great shark.
All right, for the Maniac, I am the villain. Thank you guys for watching. And of course, this was the AEW. I want to thank the Maniac for being here. Peace out. Good night, everybody.
Peace.